Disney princesses have definitely changed over the years, from having totally stereotypical personalities to becoming headstrong individuals. Disney has really stepped up their game when it comes to character development. Which Disney princess has changed the most? You'll have to watch the video to find out.
Well, serves you right, spoiling people's best dreams.
Now let's check out the evolution of Disney princesses. Snow White. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. No, wait. This isn't The Sound of Music. This is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
And I'm dreaming of the nice things.
Snow White is one of those Disney princesses people today have a love-hate relationship with. Although she did indeed start the Disney princess evolution in general, she gets often criticized for portraying a very stereotypical female role.
Oh!
Hello.
Oh!
Did I frighten you?
Of course, in those times, this was considered to be the norm. Snow White is the typical damsel in distress. Critics also frequently argue that Snow White didn't really have a personality apart from being kind. There seems to be nothing assertive about her. She's just a sweet and gentle princess that's waiting for a prince to sweep her off her feet. But despite the fact that Snow White doesn't really hold modern princess qualities, she's still the reason why Disney princesses became so popular to begin with. We have to give her some kind of credit, don't we? Cinderella. Next on our list is the one and only Cinders. As she's only the second Disney princess that ever existed, we shouldn't expect anything overly feminist in this movie.
Come on, everybody! Breakfast! Breakfast!
Cinderella often gets put in the lower rankings of progressive princesses. But come on, you have to give her credit for breaking the rules just to go party. Relatable. Although it is true that Cinderella just wasn't one of those princesses that would think about anything else but true love. Expecting a man to make your life better was pretty much a standard for Cinderella. And while that might have been the norm back in the day, female independence is definitely more valued today. Cinderella did teach us a couple of things about standing up for our rights and not putting up with those who are always bringing us down. There are actually a couple of Disney princesses from the early days that were able to break at least parts of the stereotype, and we salute them. Although, to be completely honest with you, our next Disney princess is not a part of that group. Aurora, perhaps one of the princesses that definitely doesn't get talked about a lot. You can't deny it. Aurora's beautiful, but her storyline pretty much follows what we've seen in Snow White and Cinderella. Well, except for this iconic moment that doesn't get enough credit.
Goodbye!
But when will I see you again?
Oh, never! Never!
Of course, the hilarious part only lasts for those 5 seconds, and then we're back to the same old, same old. Sleeping Beauty also gave us this moment which terrified us all back when we were kids. And this one too. And of course, the movie itself gave birth to Maleficent's iconic character. So while Aurora might not have been a particularly progressive princess, she is definitely important to the entire franchise. Let's not forget that Aurora was pretty much asleep for most of the movie, and she portrayed a very typical damsel in distress. And she met the guy in the forest and already declared that he was the love of her life just a few moments later. Ah, Aurora, we love you, we really do, but we'd love you more if you'd have more lines in this movie. Thank you. Next, Ariel. This is where the popularity of Disney princesses began to skyrocket. Ariel was just one of those princesses everyone fell in love with.
I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad.
Although her role is still largely the same as the princesses we've already mentioned, Ariel was put in a brand new world, the world underwater, and that put a brand new perspective on everything.
The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake.
Seriously, if Under the Sea song isn't stuck in your head, it will after this, and we're sorry.
Under the sea, under the sea.
The music of The Little Mermaid was just on a new level, and it's by far the catchiest music created out of the Disney movies mentioned above. But Ariel does have some good qualities to her too. For example, she craves a change and wants it more than anything.
I want to be where the people are.
And she actually goes for it and goes against the rules. Yep, and it still involves falling in love with a man who kind of saves her. But hey, the music really makes the storyline just a little bit better.
The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake.
Belle. After Ariel came Belle, and this is when Disney started to experiment with the storyline and the characters. Princesses also started to gain more personality that's outside of the norm. Belle definitely had some good qualities that tend to outweigh the bad.
There goes the baker with his tray, like always. The same old bread and rolls to sell.
She's not quite there yet to be considered a full-on progressive princess, but she's definitely appreciated. She's one of the first characters to yearn for an adventure, and she recognizes misogyny when she sees it. Take that, Gaston. She's also a total bookworm who's pretty much read every book there is.
Well, it's my favorite. Far-off places, daring sword fights.
But many criticize how the whole romance between Belle and the Beast actually started. Critics have a problem with the way Beast sometimes threatens violence, which definitely isn't okay. Although that doesn't take away from the fact that Belle did actually fall in love for the right reasons, instead of just falling for the best-looking prince around. Princess Jasmine. Let's be honest, everything changed when Jasmine came into the picture. It's like she opened up a whole new world of Disney. Get it? Okay, we'll stop. But Princess Jasmine was the very first step of Disney exploring a slightly different personality side to Disney princesses. While Ariel was definitely playful, Jasmine was the first to have a sassy attitude that doesn't really put up with anything.
I have servants who go to the marketplace for me.
She also totally owned her beauty and her lifestyle. Plus, her pet is a tiger. An actual tiger.
I'm rich too, you know.
We're pretty sure Snow White would have ran away if she ever saw a tiger up close. She's also the first princess that doesn't immediately tie the knot with the man she meets. It took a while for her to even warm up to Aladdin and consider him boyfriend material. Of course, marriage was still on the table later on, but it was clear that this was her own choice and decision. And let's not forget that her fashion is pretty much awesome too. Pocahontas. Pocahontas is often ranked as one of the most progressive Disney princesses ever. Yep, ever. Not just among the old school princesses, but ever. Jasmine and her are proof that Disney has taken a huge leap from the stereotypical role of damsel in distress and explored other options instead.
The water's always changing, always flowing. But people, I guess, can't live like that.
Pocahontas is incredibly strong, fierce, and independent. She knows how to put John Smith in his place. And she wasn't going to let people control anything in her life. And it's not just the Disney princess herself. Pocahontas is the first official Disney princess to have a real-life story.
You think I'm an ignorant savage, and you've been so many places.
Is also the first one to really talk back to a man and serve quite a few truths that even most men today wouldn't be able to handle.
Here, let me show you.
Nothing's happening.
Honestly, she's a true inspiration. She's also the first to have not one, but two romances. Plus, she pretty much realizes that John Smith just isn't it. And not to mention, she's totally gorgeous. We bow down to the first Disney princess feminist who really made us see Disney movies in a different way. Mulan. Okay guys, now we're going somewhere. It gets really exciting from this moment on. Pocahontas seemed to have inspired Disney to finally explore different cultures and portray Disney princesses in more than just a standard stereotypical way.
This is what you give me to work with? Well, honey, I've seen worse.
Mulan also broke the stereotype that a Disney princess needs to have royal blood. Just like Pocahontas, her story is also based on an ancient real-life story. On top of that, Mulan saves the entire country. She's actually not into stereotypical things, including being restricted to just one gender. She actually saves her father's life by pretending to be a man and going into the army itself. And just like Jasmine, Mulan also has a totally unexpected pet companion. It's a dragon.
Powerful, the pleasurable, the indestructible Mushu.
This daring princess trains just like a man in the army would, and no one even notices a difference, which proves a very important point.
You took away my victory.
No! I did.
Mulan was definitely one of those movies that showed the girls they don't have to stay in their comfort zone and do the typical girly things. Honestly, it's one of the most feminist movies ever, and we love it.
You don't meet a girl like that every dynasty.
Tiana. Although Tiana came after Mulan and Pocahontas, she's probably one of the most underrated Disney princesses ever.
I gotta make sure all Daddy's hard work means something.
Tiana, your daddy may not have gotten the place he always wanted, but he had something better.
Especially since she's extremely progressive and, not to mention, she's the first princess of African American heritage. Disney really decided to make its franchise inclusive to most, and it's greatly appreciated. Tiana is totally independent, and she actually works. But not because she was forced to by someone like an evil stepmother, it's because she has a dream of running her own restaurant, and she knows it'll take hard work to achieve that.
Ain't got time for messing around, and it's not my style.
I want some grandkids.
She doesn't wish upon the stars, she makes it happen. And that's pretty admirable, right? Seriously, we could go on and on about Tiana. She also ignores any advances made by men, which again proves that Disney moved on from thinking a woman should fall for the first man she meets. And although she does eventually fall in love with a handsome prince who's actually a frog, she still remains in complete control of her life. As a result, her dreams come true.
Morning, Mr. LaBeouf.
Good morning, Tiana.
Congratulations on being voted King of the Mardi Gras Parade.
She's not a damsel in distress. Instead, she becomes a powerful woman with her own restaurant. Rapunzel. Okay, Rapunzel's just awesome. This is where the true modern Disney with viral music and awesome animation really begins. The original Rapunzel story isn't exactly inspiring, but Disney totally modernized it and it definitely worked. Not to mention her pet is an actual chameleon, which is pretty impressive.
Start on the chores and sweep till the floor's all clean.
And who could forget about Rapunzel's unexpected fighting skills? She really knows what to do with that frying pan. And we appreciate that Disney didn't put her in the kitchen. Nope, she uses that frying pan to fight.
Too weak to handle myself out there, huh, Mother? Well, tell that to my frying pan.
If that's not a metaphor, we're not sure what is. Rapunzel can pretty much do it all. She has a billion hobbies. Sure, that's because she's been locked up in a tower for all of her life and hasn't seen any of the world, but you can't deny that her painting skills are impressive. And although Flynn becomes Rapunzel's love, she is more focused on the lanterns and the meaning behind them. She doesn't lose her focus, and it pays off. Not to mention, she's able to walk in a restaurant full of terrifying men, and she makes them all sing their hearts out.
You see me on the stage performing Mozart.
Merida. And here comes the Disney princess that changed everything. Although the progressive princesses we've mentioned so far were extremely vital to Disney's princess evolution, Merida really set an important benchmark.
Lead you to your fate.
Oh, aye, or an arrow.
Not only does this princess go against her family traditions and take a similar route as Mulan, there are also no men in the picture. Well, at least no men that could be Merida's potential interests, because there is a thing with an arranged marriage, but we won't talk about that. The whole focus is on Merida proving herself and her skills to show her mom she's worth more than she thinks.
Their sons as suitors for your betrothal.
Not to mention, Merida completely defies any Disney princess look with her flaming red hair. Plus, she's the only princess with a very visible accent. In her case, it's Scottish, and the entire movie features the beautiful sights of Scotland. Disney definitely did a step up with this one, and we're so glad. Although there does seem to be a theme with Disney princesses, and either not having a mother or having just a not very good relationship with the mother at the beginning of the story. Still, Merida is one of our faves. Elsa and Anna. Although Anna and Elsa aren't official Disney princesses, they deserve a spot on the list after the viral success of the first Frozen movie.
Let it go, can't hold it back anymore.
Although many don't consider Anna and Elsa to be as progressive as some of the other modern princesses, it's important to acknowledge a couple of things. Sisters aren't often featured in Disney movies as the main characters, and if they are, they don't get along, like ever. But it's different with Anna and Elsa. Not only do these two find a sisterly bonds by the end of the movie, they also discover the importance of self-love, which is exactly what this song is about.
Let it go,
Okay, we'll stop with Let It Go, we promise. But let's not forget that they gave us a soundtrack with some of the best songs ever.
Do you wanna build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play.
It's no wonder Frozen was such a success. Of course, male interests were involved in this movie, but that wasn't even the main focus, and we're really glad Disney totally moved away from this stereotype. So yeah, we definitely have a soft spot for Anna and Elsa, one of the best sister duos there is. Moana. As of 2018, Moana is the last Disney princess that has left a huge impression on Disney fans. At this point, Disney just keeps on getting better and better by ensuring the female roles in the movies have a lot of diversity and represent culture from around the world. Make way for Moana!
Moana, make way, make way!
Being the first Polynesian Disney princess, Moana not only represents a small culture that's not nearly talked about, she is also completely fearless and follows her heart. She's also able to put up with and completely shut down a demigod.
Hey! Let me out! You lying, slimy son of a...
An actual demigod, who's so big he could probably crush her at any point. But she uses her wit and her sass level to get what she wants.
I am Moana of Motunui. This is my canoe.
Not to mention she learns how to sail and is determined to get it right, even though she almost lost her life at sea twice. Now that's a true determination. This girl clearly knows her destiny, and she doesn't run away from it. She embraces it instead. There's no Prince Charming in sight, and the movie itself is full of unexpected surprises that make it one of the most progressive Disney movies ever. What's your fave Disney princess? Come let us know in the comments. And that's it for our video. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the things, and we'll see you next time.